When we talk about edible landscapes, we're talking about something far more interesting and larger than a vegetable garden. We're talking about the whole system, everything around your home, everything around your farmstead, and what you can do to actually make that an edible landscape. So we start, as with all design, with figuring out what you've got, what you need, and what you want, and then put that edible spin on it. Do you want to be able to harvest your own fresh peaches? Do you want to be able to have raspberries or elderberries? Do you want to feed the birds and the creatures? Because it's a guarantee that if you have these, you're going to have them. The other thing we talk about is then where those plants go. So are you talking about a brand new landscape where you're starting from scratch? That can make it easier, and yet sometimes that's a really overwhelming decision for people. And the other option, of course, is you already have a landscape, you're deliberating over replacing a hedge or a screen or needing more privacy or providing shade on these hot days for your home or for your backyard. So when you think about that, instead of immediately going to a catalog or your local garden center and saying, I want a peach tree, you're thinking about what you want each of those edible plants to contribute. And the beauty of taking that approach to it is then it's not just this spotty onesie-twosie thing. You have the aesthetic quality of this landscape, you have the seasonal interest, you have the change over time, which again, it's changed from spring to fall into, of course, 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 years. And the only way really to do that is to deliberately think about the choice and the placement of those plants. The other issue, of course, is the management. And again, that's one of the things that we hear most often is people will plant something like a peach or elderberries or the brambles, and then they don't know what to do with them. We have peaches that haven't been thinned, we have elderberries that have spread everywhere, we have the brambles, which not only spread everywhere, they try to take over the earth. It gets overwhelming. So the other thing that's really fun about this is if you really do like vegetables and sort of those annual edibles as well, build them into that landscape. And part of the beauty of that is you can combine vegetables, you can combine flowers, you can use shrubs as a hedge or a screen. You have something like a hickory tree that provides the shade as opposed to a tree that doesn't really allow any edibility of any plant parts. But again, the whole point of choosing to have an edible landscape is sort of the reality check. What is your site? Do you have sun? Do you have shade? What is that soil? Because as you know, soil is incredibly important. Are you willing to put the management into making sure that you have done what you need to do to be able to get something to eat? What are you going to do about those critters? How do you want this to look? And most important, let's be realistic about how much you are going to be able to harvest and eat yourselves. A lot of times people think they're going to be able to replace their whole grocery budget with everything they grow in their own landscape. Sometimes that's possible, but remember that Mother Nature can play that final card, make it too hot, too dry, too wet, too cold, too something or other at the wrong season, and then that is going to impact your ability to actually harvest what you want. That said, an edible landscape can be every bit as beautiful as a landscape that has pretty much nothing for anybody to eat in it.